goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. Remember, a flood advisory is one notch down from what we see when we deal with flooding. So it's kind of one notch below that. So that is going to be something we continue to watch there as well. Hold on one second, guys. I'm checking in on some things here as well. Trying to make sure we're keeping everybody updated. Guys in the back, do you think that it is possible for me to cut in on air briefly and then go back to digital? If anybody can give me an answer on that one. Just want to make sure that anybody who maybe is watching television tonight is staying up to date on the forecast as well. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fine, Eric. Thank you for that. Everybody that's watching on digital and, of course, on Facebook, thanks for bearing with me. Just trying to make sure we kind of get all of our bases covered. I know that sometimes during, this time of night, you're maybe relaxing, you're headed to bed, you're coming home from work, so not everyone may be on their phones or on the internet, so I just want to make sure we're kind of covering ourselves here as well. So we will let you know, of course, if we do wind up cutting into programming there as well to give you kind of an update. But if you are joining us on digital and on our website, on our Facebook, I appreciate you. And please spread the word to anybody that you know that lives in Knoxville, Anderson counties. There is flash flooding going on across East Tennessee, and this is a big story tonight. This is significant. They put that considerable tag on that first warning, and they don't do that very often, so you want to really take this threat seriously. Let's see what else the Weather Service has kind of been talking about here and issuing, continuing to just track this chance for heavy rain across the area, and I'm taking in some of your comments here as well. I appreciate you guys. All right, so let's go over some rainfall totals. Why don't we? Talk about what we've seen so far tonight. Rain estimates so far. If we just take the past hour, I'm going to query some of this data for you guys. So this is near Peak, Claxton Elementary, Bellbridge, Powell. I think that's Alicia's Vineyard. If I am saying that wrong, let me know in the comments there. You can see there's a steep gradient here. I mean, Edgemoor, you guys got about 33 inches, 0.33 inches, excuse me, whereas Peak, 2.3 inches. So a big discrepancy here in terms of rainfall totals. But this is just over the past hour. Over 2 inches of rain has fallen into portions of East Tennessee. If we change this to 3-inch totals, this is where the big concern comes in. Claxton Elementary here near Edgemoor Road, West Wolf Valley Road, Clinton Highway, Emory Road. These are some excessive rainfall totals. I want to zoom in even a little bit more to see if I can give you guys some more road names here. So this is kind of near Sherwood Estates, Bull Run Road, Clinton Highway, Tillery Road. If I had to guess where they're seeing the most flooding, I would say it's in these locations. We've already gotten some reports of flooded roadways kind of near Clinton Highway. This goes all the way down towards Bull Run as well, Schrader Road, Tillery Road. So you guys have seen such heavy rainfall. Let's query some more of these locations for you. 4.3 inches of rainfall over the past 3 hours. Because it has come down so fast and so hard, that's why we've got this flash flooding concern, and it's really important that you take the threat seriously. Do not drive through flooded roadways tonight as we continue to deal with this potential for flash flooding. Another thing I want to check in on is this little tool that I kind of showed you guys earlier. This tells us rainfall per hour. What I've noticed over the past couple hours is that this area here that was yellow, orangey, it's really started to expand, and it does now include more locations. It's even starting to creep into that Deep Creek area near Amherst Elementary, Pleasant Ridge Elementary, Bellbridge, Powell. All these locations are going to have the concern of some flash flooding tonight. So we just have to kind of keep our eyes on it. I think what's so impressive to me about this situation is just how the storms are barely moving. And that is really unfortunate because they're not coming down in intensity and they're not moving. I'm playing it over the past 15 minutes. I mean, it barely looks any different. So much heavy rain. And we've also seen some back building of cells back there near Briceville and Dossett that's just kind of continuing to pump moisture into the area. Earlier this evening, I showed you the sweatcast. It had that bright pink color all across East Tennessee, and that tells you that when it rains, it is going to pour across many locations. So again, if you're just joining us, we've got flash flooding potential across portions of Knox and Anderson counties. Right now, power outages at about 7,500 customers in Knox County, about 500 customers without power there in Anderson County, and over about 100 customers or so into portions of southeast Kentucky. Notice we're starting to see some power outages further to the west. That's the main line of storms that we've been watching. It's not even arrived yet, so there is still plenty of time for us to see some more heavy rainfall, which is going to be a big concern tonight. Let's just check in here as well with the weather service. I'm also just trying to stay up to date here on social media, make sure that we are keeping you guys all alert as to the latest situations with kind of what's happening and what people are seeing here as well. Let's see what people are saying on Facebook here. Liz is saying it's been lightning and raining for the last 2 hours in Knoxville, Fountain City area. I know, Liz, it really has been coming down over the past several hours, and these storms just have not moved. That's going to be our big concern. So I want to stress to you, if you live in Knox or Anderson counties, if you know someone that's got to drive home tonight, please tell them to take it slow, because it is so hard to determine how much water is on some of these roadways, and those flash flood warnings are pretty significant. So again, that initial flash flood warning is going to continue until 1:30 in the morning, unless, of course, they decide to expand it, which they may. Our other place that we're watching is here into portions of Knox County. It's extended now. It does include Bearden Elementary, Knoxville, Alice Bell, up into the Cedar Grove community. They've just kind of added on another warning, and that one goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. Still, the most torrential rain, the most significant flooding has been near portions of Clinton and Claxton, and it does look like we have gotten some reports so far of some flooding concerns there into portions of that area back near Powell as well. Hey, Eric. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, great. I am ready. So let me just say one thing real fast. Anybody watching digital, I'm just going to kind of do a little recap of this for everybody that is watching on air right now, just so they are aware of that flooding potential, and then I will kind of wrap that up, but I'm not going to end this digital stream. I will join you back here on digital, so don't worry about that. But yeah, Eric, I think we're good to go. Okay. You're all good, Eric. Well, you let me know. Otherwise, I will keep talking here to our digital friends. Thank you guys for bearing with me as we try to make sure we can get our information out on all different platforms. We appreciate your patience with us. And of course, I just want to make sure that everybody is updated, that they know what's going on, whether they're watching online or maybe they're just sitting in front of the TV tonight relaxing. I just want to make sure they know about the potential flash flooding situation across East Tennessee. So, Eric, if you get it working, just give me a holler. If not, we will just continue on with our digital developments here, kind of keeping you guys updated on air and, of course, online. Again, let's just go over what we're seeing right now. So if you are joining us, we've got 2 active flash flood warnings The main one, the first one that was issued, includes Claxton, Edgemore, Oak Ridge, the Dossett community, Amherst, Powell. I'd say this is still the most significant flash flood warning because that's where they've seen the heaviest rain so far. It also has a considerable tag on it. So think of that kind of as like an extra little note that the National Weather Service added to that warning to say, hey, we put the warning out, but I think there could be even more damage with this flash flooding concern. So this one, especially back near Claxton and Powell, is our main flash flood warning. But we have a secondary one now that they also issued, and you can see they kind of like wrapped it around the other warning because they started to notice some of that heavy rain had gone into portions of downtown Knoxville and also Clinton there. That flash flood warning goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. And again, biggest threats are going to be flash flooding that comes on suddenly. When they issue a warning, it means that flash flooding is imminent or already occurring. So that's kind of what we're going to be watching here. I'm going to leave this up for you guys for a moment. I'm going to step out of the frame to see if I can get one other thing working down here. But again, if you're just joining us, we've got flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Anderson and Knox counties. We're seeing torrential rainfall and frequent lightning. None of these storms have officially been severe in nature. So in order for a thunderstorm to be categorized as severe, it has to have winds gusting 58 miles per hour or greater, quarter-size hail, or a tornado. None of those criteria have been met, but that doesn't mean these storms are not potent. In fact, they've been producing such heavy rain that, again, they had to go ahead and issue those flash flood warnings. Let's show you what the radar looks like at this point. I think what's so interesting is, again, parts of the plateau, the Southern Valley. If you're joining us from anywhere else almost, you probably are like, what are you talking about? I haven't seen any rain yet. But look at that cell over downtown Knoxville, portions of Anderson County. I'm starting to notice at least a little bit of some lower intensity back near Claxton and Clinton. That is great news because they have seen the brunt of it. You can see how the storm is trying to kind of break up a little bit there. But that heavy rainfall is now moving into downtown Knoxville, right over our studio. I'm hearing so much thunder, and we've been watching such frequent lightning. Just based on the area that I'm showing you here, we've got about 83 lightning strikes. This lightning has been the cause, of course, of some of our power outage concerns. Let's talk about the rainfall totals over the past 3 hours here as well. Over 4 inches of rainfall in spots, updating again there, 2 to 3 inches of rainfall in some locations. Now, of course, because we're kind of adding on the hours here, these numbers sometimes look like they're going down, but essentially it's just taking into account the last 3 hours. And based on the time we're at right now, some of this rain started to develop closer about the 4-hour mark, so still excessive rainfall. This flood product also is telling me that it was a great idea that they put out that other flash flood warning because, again, when I see this yellow to orange color that indicates 1 to 1.5 inches of rainfall per hour, that gives me a big heads up that, hey, there could be some flooding concerns based on where we live here in East Tennessee. Another thing to note, it looks like we have a report here, Knoxville Police reporting roads near I-275 and High School Avenue as having some flooding on them as well. So I'm going to just add that in here. Basically what I'm doing is just making sure that everybody in the newsroom is also aware of what we are seeing so that we can always make sure we're getting you guys more information. So take a picture of this for them, send it that way. And of course, if anybody is listening, I think that we probably need to give a call out to Knoxville PD to ask about this road and also about Emory Road. It does seem like there's some reports of trees down and power lines down in Knox County. Also could be causing some traffic issues, especially with the power out. That can sometimes bring down some of those traffic lights as well. So again, if you guys are listening on digital, I would give a call out to Knoxville Police. And I would also check with Anderson County. I know we checked earlier and they're super busy, but see if they're getting any reports there as well. Somebody on Facebook here mentioning that there is still the potential to see more. That is true. We haven't even gotten through the front yet, so Earlier tonight, I was tracking this front. I'm still tracking it, but it's not made its way here yet. So there will be more rounds of rain and storms that develop overnight tonight. Most of them right now are over southeast Kentucky. I want to show you, though, again, our power outages. So now about 6,500 customers without power in Knox County, about 500 customers without power in Anderson County, and you can see the power outages starting to bubble up over portions of southeast Kentucky there as well. Let's talk about what's to come. So hopefully this thunderstorm starts to either move or dissipate. Hasn't been showing signs of either all too much yet, although I do think we've seen a little bit of weakening back near Clinton. What we're watching, though, is going to be this complex of storms and essentially this front and how it moves. Right now, it's still drifting mainly east. I think, though, that overnight it's going to start to move more southeast, and that could cause some additional heavy rainfall over portions of the valley. So everyone is under that chance to see some storms tonight as this front moves through. Will they be as bad as the storm we've been dealing with in Knox County? Hopefully not. I'm hoping that this front is going to move a little faster because that's going to be the key. Even if you see heavy rain, locations can sustain it for a little bit. It's the fact that for several hours we have had torrential rainfall over portions of Knox and Anderson counties that has obviously caused some flooding concerns. So big issue to watch for there. Our official severe weather risk tonight is at a level 1 out of 5. If we were to see a stronger storm in terms of severe criteria, so winds potentially gusting 58 miles per hour or greater, I think our biggest concern would be right along the Tennessee-Kentucky border, and also going to be a concern into portions of southeast Kentucky where they're already watching some stronger storms there as well. Hey, Eric. All righty. Hold on one moment. All right. All right. Thank you guys again on digital. Sorry about that. We're just trying to figure out how we can kind of maybe cut in on air and give people a little bit of an update. I'm also checking in with the Weather Service here in Jackson, Kentucky. And as I said, they are watching some severe warned storms. Let's take a moment and kind of see what's going on in Kentucky. I want to make sure we don't miss anything. Obviously, our big concern here is the flash flooding, but let's go up here into Kentucky and see what we are dealing with here. So this is McCreary County in Kentucky. It includes Pine Knot. They have a severe thunderstorm warning back into Wayne County near Monticello. They also have a flood advisory, though, into McCreary County here near Whitley City as well, and Honeybee. So much lightning. Look at the lightning counter. 590 strikes of lightning. These thunderstorms have been producing so much lightning, and part of the reason for that is because think about how hot and humid it was today. Above average temperatures, hotter than normal feels like. So when you add all those in, these storms really get to be electrified. What we're going to be watching is how these storms move. Will the Weather Service decide to expand that severe thunderstorm warning into McCreary County? We will have to see. I think the biggest thing that they're watching for that cell back in Wayne County is probably some gusty winds. That's what I see at this point with that cell near Monticello. I'm going to try to check out a few of our radar sites here to kind of see what looks best. But this area as well is under that flood advisory. And if these storms make more of a push to the south and east, they could potentially impact some of our Tennessee counties, which would obviously be a concern for areas that have already seen heavy rainfall and some flooding. Let's check in again here with the Weather Service. I heard this beeping. What else have they been putting out here as well? I don't see anything from that. All right, so the Weather Service tweeting out as well that numerous roads between Knoxville and Oak Ridge are completely flooded and impassable. If possible, do not drive through this area tonight. So again, numerous roads between Knoxville and Oak Ridge right now are completely flooded and impassable. This is a big situation here. You need to take this seriously, so please remember to not drive through these roads. And Eric, if you can figure out any way for us to get on, just let me know. I just want to make sure that everybody that's at home there is up to date on this. Okay. And I'm just also going to add in here. That as well. Again, thank you guys for staying with us, sticking with me here tonight. I'm kind of doing a lot of different things. I'm trying to watch social media and some of your reports, trying to keep up with the weather service, and also, of course, tracking these storms. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me tonight, and hopefully you guys are safe and you're in your house and you are not going to be going out into this weather. We do, of course, still have those flash flood warnings, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them extend this flash flood warning, but you can see that there's been at least a little bit of a decrease in coverage here over portions of Anderson County back near Claxton and Clinton, so that's good. And what I mean by that is you can kind of see the storm's broken up a little bit, and the bright red color has moved a little more into Knoxville, so this storm may finally be kind of working itself over. But the tricky thing about flooding is that flooding doesn't necessarily end once the rain stops. It can linger for a little longer. Yes, Eric, sorry. Yes, let's do it. Good evening. I'm Assistant Chief Meteorologist Victoria Cavaliere, cutting into programming tonight to talk about some ongoing flooding concerns we have across portions of Knox and Anderson counties. Now, I've been talking about this on our website and also on social media, but I wanted to make sure everybody is aware of the flooding situation that's happening right now. So we've got 2 active flash flood warnings, and this is for part of Anderson County and also part of Knox County. Now, if you live in these communities, especially near Clinton, Claxton, Powell, you have been dealing with torrential rainfall over the past several hours, and as a result, flash flooding is imminent or already occurring in many locations. This flash flood warning here, this first blinking green box, that is a flash flood warning that goes until 1:30, and the National Weather Service in Morristown has placed a considerable tag on that warning. Essentially what that means is it's an added note that the Weather Service has added in to let you know that the flooding situation in that location is significant. So please do not drive through flooded roadways tonight. The Weather Service has already tweeted out that numerous roads between Knoxville and Oak Ridge are completely flooded and impassable. This is a serious situation, especially because it's happening during the nighttime hours when it is so hard to determine how much water is on the roadways. We also have this secondary flash flood warning that does include downtown Knoxville and also more of Anderson County. They kind of expanded it. Now that one goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. Again, you really need to take this threat seriously. We always talk about turn around, don't drown, and that's going to be a big thing to keep in mind tonight as we continue to watch this very heavy rainfall. I want to kind of show you some of our rainfall estimates here over the past 3 hours. Places near Claxton, this includes near Emory Road, Clinton Highway, have seen over 4 inches of rainfall from what we can tell on our radar that has caused some flash flooding concerns in those locations. And we still have rainfall to contend with as we go into the overnight hours tonight. This is another good graphic to kind of highlight for you which locations are seeing some flooding. Notice this yellow to orange color from South Clinton all the way into Powell, all the way into downtown Knoxville. These are the areas that we're really concerned about with flooding. And unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the end of the rainfall. This thunderstorm has kind of developed on its own ahead of the main front. But the main front right now is in Kentucky, so it hasn't even gotten here yet. Let's also give you an update on some power outages. About 6,500 customers without power in Knox County and also about 500 customers without power there in Anderson County. So much lightning with some of these storms. So really important tonight that you continue to stay inside if you can. Do not drive through flooded roadways. These storms are potent. They're producing torrential rainfall, and flash flooding can be life-threatening. So you want to make sure that you do not drive through flooded roadways. This is the latest look right here at Storm Tracker 6 radar. I say it all the time, but 6 inches of water is enough to float a person. 12 inches of water is enough to float most vehicles. So do not take the risk tonight. Remember, you always want to turn around, don't drown, as we continue to watch this flash flooding potential. I'm also just checking in here with the Weather Service as well, and of course they're continuing to track some of those flooded roadways. I'm going to have more details on what you can expect with this flash flooding situation. You can follow me right now on our website at WAT.com, and of course also on our Facebook page. Again, 2 active flash flood warnings right now for Knox and Anderson counties, where flash flooding is already ongoing. Please make sure you stay safe tonight, and if you have any additional questions or want any more information, I encourage you to join me. I'm going to be live on our website at WAT.com and also on Facebook. Thank you. Hello guys, I'm Assistant Chief Meteorologist Victoria Cavaliere. Thank you for keeping updated with us tonight on digital, on our website, on our Facebook page about the ongoing flooding that we've got. I know we've been kind of jumping all over the place. I'm trying to make sure we give everybody a heads up about this flooding situation. So what you just watched there earlier was me doing a cut-in for the on-air segment. We've got a lot of different platforms here, and I really want to make sure that everybody, no matter how they're tuning in or how they're spending their night, is aware of this flash flooding situation. So again, I appreciate you guys, your patience with me here on digital tonight. We've got a lot of different things we're juggling, but let's talk about what we are dealing with right now. So I have been trying to keep in contact here as well with our reporter, Wes Cooper. He went out to Powell tonight, and he has confirmed with me that Sharp Road in Powell is currently impassable. Again, this is Sharp Road in Powell. The Weather Service has also noted that they have seen several roads from Knoxville leading up to Oak Ridge also impassable due to this flash flooding, and we are still dealing with torrential rainfall. So this is going to be a big concern as we go into the rest of our night tonight. Now, the Weather Service also noting that they spoke with Knox County EMA, and right now they don't have any sort of water rescues going on. This is as of 12:34 in the morning. That, of course, is great news. We don't want to hear of any reports of that tonight. I'm really hoping that anybody that's watching this takes this threat seriously. And of course, if you don't have to be out tonight, don't go out, because this rainfall is really significant. One thing that I have been noticing, though, which is good, is that back near Claxton and also into portions of Amherst there, you can see that the rain has kind of lessened up at least a little bit. So that is really important to note here. We do still have this downpour kind of near Clinton, but hopefully we're going to start to notice some of this coverage decreases a little bit, because there is still more rain in the forecast tonight. This is not the end of it. We still have the front to get through. And you can see the heavy rain right now that is into portions of southeast Kentucky. Now I'm expecting some of this moisture to drop down and move to the south and east tonight, potentially impacting some more of our locations. So this is going to be a big concern during the overnight hours. But again, if you're just joining us, we've got 2 active flash flood warnings. One here for Knox County, goes until 1:30 in the morning. This is the one that was really significant. They put that considerable tag on it. Our other flash flood warning is for portions of Knox and Anderson counties, and that one goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. Frequent lightning as well. Lightning strikes up to about 81. Let's check in on our Embassy Suites camera. We haven't looked at it in a little bit, but I can hear the rain myself coming down here over our studios on North Broadway. Our Embassy Suites camera right now looks a little, I was going to say a little more docile, and then of course we see lightning on it. It's been so active tonight with frequent lightning. Another thing I want to show you though is also our power outage maps. I've been trying to keep my eyes peeled to what they've been seeing in Knox and Anderson counties, and this map shows about 6,500 customers without power in Knox County and about 500 customers without power there in Anderson County. Most of these in Knox County have been centered right along that Powell community. If I go here and kind of refresh our outage map with KUB, that will give us a better idea of some locations that are seeing the most significant power outages. And this is kind of near Ponderosa Hills, also near the Black Oak community. Also looks like we are seeing some more significant power outages here as well, kind of south of Knoxville, also to the south and east of Kingsley Station. So definitely something we're going to be keeping our eyes on there. Let's see also if anybody else has given us any reports. The National Weather Service in Jackson just went ahead and issued another flood advisory for Bell, Harlan, Knox, and Whitley counties until 3:45 in the morning. So when you think about flooding, flood advisory is kind of level 1, and then the next level up is flash flooding. So they've given them a flood advisory until 3:45 in the morning. So I'll show you where that is located here on the map. So what's interesting here is that they have basically expanded this flood advisory, even though they're not seeing a lot of rain yet into portions of Bell County, Knox County, Kentucky. They're anticipating that this line of storms that's already caused some localized flooding concerns is going to be moving that way. One thing to note is that this complex of storms in Kentucky is also very potent, but it's been moving more to the east than southeast. So let's put this in play for you there. There you go. This is over the past 30 minutes. And generally, this has been pushing more easterly. So if it continues more of an easterly push and less of a southeast push, that's good for us, especially because we've already got flooding concerns into Knox County. But it's definitely going to be something we've got to keep our eyes on. A lot of the high-resolution models did not pick up on the flash flooding that we saw in Knox County that we're seeing right now in Knox and Anderson counties. So as a result, we're kind of having a little bit of trouble modeling what's going to happen the rest of the night tonight, because if those models don't initialize, if they don't start off with the right data, they can't spit out the right data. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. But right now what I'm seeing over portions of Knox and Anderson County still indicative of some very, very heavy rainfall from downtown Knoxville all the way even eastward. If we continue to see this sort of torrential rainfall linger, they may actually have to issue another flash flood warning kind of as that system of storms moves, because it's just moving slightly to the south and east. This is a look at a 30-minute time lapse, and you can notice that there's been some decrease in coverage back near Clinton and Bull Run, although right now Clinton is still getting poured on, but it's kind of lost a little bit of its intensity, and it's moving closer to that Oak City area and also there near Boyd's Creek. Want to check in on some of their rainfall totals and also take a look at what we're seeing here. Okay, so right now, based on this rainfall rates per hour, what I can tell is that the warning is still encompassing a good part of the area, but you can see here kind of near Riverside Drive, we're starting to see some heavier totals develop. So this is going to be something to monitor. If the storms continue to move a little bit faster, which would be great, then they may not have to issue an additional flash flood warning. But at this time, I'm still going to be watching this area here near Asbury, Moshina Heights, Riverside Drive. It's kind of near Chapman Highway and Southbrook, because you guys are starting to see some heavy rain, and if that continues, there could be a flooding concern there as well. Let's see what else we are tracking here. We are also getting some reports as well of some thunderstorm damage into portions of Anderson County, so something we've got to keep our eyes on there. These storms have not been severe warned so far tonight, and you may be wondering, why have they not been severe warned? Why didn't I get that alert on my phone? It's important to note that we don't warn on storms. We don't make them severe if they just have heavy rain. And I know I say just when we're dealing with the flooding concerns, but the technical definition of a severe storm is a tornado, hail, 1 inch in diameter or greater, or 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So if we're not seeing any of those criteria being met, winds have been gusty, but they've not been up to that 58-mile-per-hour criteria, they can't issue the severe warning. That's why they're more focused on the flash flood potential and that flash flood warning, which they have gone ahead and issued. I'm just getting a few other reports here that I need to pass along to the Weather Service, and to the newsroom here as well. Thank you guys for bearing with me here. And passing this along to the newsroom, to some of our people there. And I'm going to take a moment to take a sip of water. Thank you to all of our production people in the back for helping me tonight. And I appreciate you guys staying up with me late as we track some of this flooding across East Tennessee. So let's go back to the radar right now. Again, we're going to stick with you here as we watch this flash flooding. We've got those 2 active flash flood warnings. And this one is the first one that they issued. It goes until 1:30. Based on what I've been seeing, reports, roads being impassable, I would say that they're going to hold on to that one until at least 1:30 if they don't go ahead and expand it. The other one goes until 3 o'clock in the morning, and this one includes Knoxville. Now, what's interesting is you can see kind of the axis of heavy rain is shifted a little bit here, where we're dealing with that heavier rain, going closer towards Johnson University. I want to loop this over the past hour just to give me a little bit of an idea as to whether or not I think these storms are moving. And I do think they've picked up the pace, at least within the past hour or so. So that is good news. Of course, as I mentioned, we still have more rain overnight. I'm going to draw on here for you guys for a second. You can see kind of right through here, if I could draw a straight line, this has been like the axis of heavy rain. So all along this axis is where we've seen the rain. Now, what exactly caused this one storm to bubble up there and just continue to propagate? It's hard to tell, because what was interesting was this afternoon we didn't have a lot of rain, we didn't have a lot of storms, because we didn't have what we call a forcing mechanism yet. So think about that like you have a wagon and you're trying to get it down a hill. Well, if you're already on a hill and you're on the edge, the forcing mechanism is gravity. It's going to send it right down the hill. But if you're not on a hill, if you're on flat ground and you want that wagon to move, you've got to push it. So our forcing mechanism is kind of that added oomph, that push. And we didn't have that in place this afternoon. But with this front approaching, that's giving us the added push to see some of these storms start to develop. We also had very hot high temperatures today, upper 80s, low 90s. We hit 92 degrees at the Knoxville airport. So a lot of available energy for these storms to get going. And that's unfortunately been a concern as we watch the rest of the evening here with this very, very heavy rainfall. I'm going to switch over to a couple other graphics to kind of give you an idea of what we're seeing. This is a look over our Embassy Suites camera. And every time I say it looks a little bit quieter, we see lightning. But it does look to me a little bit quieter. We don't have as many raindrops on the camera lens either, so that's good. I'm going to see if I can kind of turn it a little bit though to move it. This is one of our cameras, so we have control over it a little bit here, which is good for us. I'm going to kind of move it around a little bit. You can still see some frequent lightning here on this camera as well. Let's kind of move this and see what else we're seeing if we slide it across downtown Knoxville. But we have been watching a lot of lightning with these cells tonight, and of course also some gusty to damaging winds and lots of flash flooding as well. It's taking its time spinning here a little bit, the camera, but give it a second. It's coming together. All right, so I've turned it just a little bit, just see if we can get a kind of different view of what we're seeing. But again, we do still have those flash flood warnings in effect, and if we check in on some of our power outages, we've got about 7,000 customers without power in Knox County, about 500 customers without power there in Anderson County, and also starting to notice the power outages increasing into portions of southeast Kentucky. This is Wayne County, Kentucky, where originally they did have that severe thunderstorm warning in place earlier. Also continuing here to just kind of watch what the Weather Service is issuing. Looks like our National Weather Service chat here may have gone down for a second, but that's all right. So again, if you're joining us tonight, we've got 2 active flash flood warnings for Knox and Anderson counties, and one of those goes until 1:30 in the morning, and the other one that includes downtown Knoxville, that goes until about 3 o'clock in the morning. So these are going to kind of be our 2 main locations. What we've seen over the past 3 hours has really been excessive. Here near Claxton, over 4 inches of rainfall, and also 2 to 3 inches of rainfall back near places like Amherst and Bellbridge. Such heavy rain that we do have some reports of some impassable roads. I mentioned to you earlier, WAT 6 on your side reporter Wes Cooper was out live in Powell, and he told us that Sharp Road in Powell is currently impassable. The Weather Service has also reported that several roads between Knoxville and Oak Ridge have such high water on them that you can't get through them. So don't forget, you want to make sure that you turn around, don't drown. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know if our internet has gone out or if I just took the internet out here, but Eric, if you find out, let me know. But of course, we're going to continue to track the flash flood potential here across East Tennessee. I do want to check back in quickly in southeast Kentucky to kind of see what's going on there, because that was where the main front is, and generally it's still moving kind of more easterly. So portions of Knox County, Kentucky, Bell County, Kentucky, you guys are going to be under eventually the flood advisory from this line of storms. So much lightning with this line. It is moving more east than southeast, which for right now is good for us since we've got so much rain already over Knox County. We've also started to develop some thunderstorms, though, drifting here into portions of La Follette, Campbell County there as well, also back near Wynn Elementary. So starting to see at least a little bit of some better coverage of some thunderstorm development there. And we've also noticed some showers and storms popping up into Gatlinburg and the Mount LeConte area as well. So we're going to keep our eyes on those. The severe thunderstorm warnings that they currently have in Kentucky are further off to our north. They include Jackson, Kentucky, and also getting into portions near Pikeville. So they allowed those severe thunderstorm warnings that were in Wayne County off to the west of our counties to kind of drop off. But again, we do still have 2 active flash flood warnings in effect right now. I'm going to keep that up there. And Eric, I'm just going to ask if you take the graphics full for me for a second here. I'm going to try to see what is up with the Weather Service and see what is going on there. Okay. Thank you, Eric. You are all good. I think that I disconnected our internet, which, you know, it happens. Hold on a second. I think I disconnected it through the phone. For all of you guys that are on digital here, I appreciate you hanging with me. Great. All right. And one other thing I want to note, I'm checking in with the Weather Service here, and oh, more and more reports. They just wanted to, ooh, the lightning on the Embassy Suites camera. They just wanted to make a note that apparently there is a report from the Weather Service coming in of a car stranded in a flooded road. This is in Knox County, so I'm going to pass that along to our newsroom. We'll see if we can kind of get that confirmed to you, but that is exactly the kind of thing that we are concerned about tonight. And yeah, Eric, you've got that Embassy Suites camera pulled up. I mean, whew, the lightning on that camera, it's been a lot. So if you do have a generator or any way, of course, to try to conserve power tonight, try to do that. I'm going to try to maybe fix the look of this camera just a little bit because it seems a little blurry here, but I don't know if that's also just because of the rain. It looks like it is a little bit, but I think we'll leave it like that. Again, if you're just joining us, we've got some active flash flood warnings across East Tennessee. That's going to continue to be a concern tonight. The original warning going until about 1:30 this morning. And then we've got another warning that they've put out that goes until 3 o'clock in the morning for portions of Knox and Anderson counties. Let's show you that map here as well. Those are your 2 flash flood warnings in this blinking green box. If we can pull that up for them there as well. You can see where these warnings are located and kind of how the radar is looking. So there you go. Those are our 2 flash flood warnings right now. I'm going to show you the bigger radar picture. This complex of storms developed several hours ago. It started as just a single storm in Anderson County, and then it populated and kind of expanded, but didn't move much. So that's why we're still seeing such concerns in terms of the flooding all across Knox and Anderson counties, where we do have several reports of flooded roadways. And we have confirmed, of course, with Wes Cooper, who's our reporter out there, that there is an impassable road in Powell right now that is Sharp Road. We're also going to be closely kind of watching here the potential for some more flooded roadways because we've seen such heavy rainfall. I want to zoom in just a little bit more. And if you've been staying with us, the coverage of rain has started to diminish at least a little bit back near Claxton, Amherst, and Knoxville. But now it's shifted. It's shifted a little bit further down near Johnson, and we're going to have to keep our eyes on this area too, whether or not this kind of diminishes. Unfortunately, I think we still have more rain and storms that are going to build in overnight tonight, and that's going to cause us a concern with that front dropping through, with adding more and more rainfall on top of it. I want to also show you some roads that I think could have some high water on them, just based on these rainfall totals, especially in South Clinton, in the Peak area, near Edgemore Road, Bull Run Road, Clinton Highway. Also here getting into Tillery Road. These locations have such heavy rain on them that that's going to be a big, big, big concern as we go into the rest of our night tonight, because they've already seen 4 inches of rainfall, so even if they get a few more inches, I don't know if a lot of these roads can kind of tolerate that. So certainly something we're going to have to keep our eyes on. You can see as well, this is that product I like to use to give me a little bit of a heads up as to whether or not they may issue another flash flood warning. And that area south and east a little bit of Knoxville also starting to pop up with more of a yellow twinge. But notice back near Clinton and Claxton, some of that intensity is coming down. Obviously, even if the rain ends in those areas, doesn't mean the flooding ends. Flooding kind of lasts for longer than the rain because that water has to find somewhere to go. So please make sure, even into early tomorrow morning, that you are taking it extra, extra slow all across East Tennessee, into parts of Anderson and Knox counties there as well. So definitely something we're going to be keeping our eyes on. And Eric, do you think you could just take this graphic full for me here for a second? This is another look at our power outage map as well. Meteorologist Justin Keifer has also come on in here. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, Victoria. Hopefully things are going okay. Obviously, we're looking at the power outage map has just jumped 1,500 since the last time you showed it. So we'll take a look at this on and off here as we go through the morning. It looks like the chroma key is working.
Great, so great. There you go, guys. Sorry for seeing my face there.
That's okay. So yeah, you know, I'm
that's okay.
Jumping in here.
Yes.
Not to be remarkably sort of out of it, but
that's okay.
This is amazing. I haven't seen lightning like this in a thunderstorm in a long time.
And also, the thing with these storms is they started not with the main front, just populated itself and just has sat over Anderson and Knox
sort of
counties.
back building and not really moving, which is unfortunate because that's how with as much moisture that's in the air, that has been in the air, that this storm has been efficient and just dropping tremendous amounts of rain.
Yeah.
So obviously we're here together. You've been here all day. I'll be carrying us through the night, but for a brief period of time here, let's just take a look at the scenario that's going on, and we can kind of monitor things. Hopefully, you folks at home who are watching, if we're and get me up to speed. Are we online? Are we on air?
Right now we're online. We're on WAT.com and we're on Facebook right now. So that's what we've been updating. I did do a brief cut in on the air to kind of give everybody a heads up and then push them towards the web. So
all right, and so we're looking right now at the loop of Storm Tracker. With the main front, and you just mentioned this, that this one cell over Knoxville and Anderson County and Knox County widely is so separated from the actual front. That's a remarkable sort of feature of this element. And you know, and when you're in a scale, when you're just down to the county level, computer modeling doesn't really handle something like that.
No.
And so, you know, we knew that line of storms was going to come out of Kentucky, but this one storm that was going to produce 4 inches of rain, that's just not in the modeling.
And of course, now the models are almost null and void because none of them picked up on this, so they've been having a really, really hard time even kind of determining. What's interesting though, Justin, I've noticed is the front so far is moving mainly east. Hasn't been dropping south all too much. So
and so this goes to the point about the modeling, is that many of the models from yesterday showed all this dropping nearly due south and not heading eastward. Interesting feature there. So there's some things in the atmosphere above East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky in play here on a really small scale that has major implications on how this weather will evolve for the rest of the night. Obviously, the torrential rain and the flooding that's ongoing right now. And our director Eric, who is upstairs at the punching the buttons, we'll just be here, you know, together for a little while, and before. Victoria will have to drive home in this rain. So just from time to time, go with the different links. You've got our weather graphics machines, so we call them links. We have links 1, 2, and 3. Right now, you're looking at one particular one. You can go back and forth between these. You can have the over here at the green wall. We can talk about that as well, so we can get this completely covered and bring as much critical information out there as we possibly can. Is this a new flash flood warning, or are these the ones?
So these are the 2 ones that we currently have. So Justin, I may see if you can maybe stand here and talk for a little bit. I'm going to run upstairs to the newsroom and make sure they got some of these reports at the Weather Service.
Absolutely.
And then I will jump over there on the chroma key if that is good with you.
I think that's fine. Let's do that. Tag out here, and
I'll be back.
Yep. So let's do this. If you will, come up on camera 1 here, and we'll be on this particular weather graphic here. And so again, we appreciate you being with us, staying with us, and staying up to speed on the weather that's evolving here, obviously across East Tennessee. This particular cell, that's the flooding cell, and we have been watching this. Obviously, it started at about 11 o'clock. The storm just slowly evolving and then back building. So there's a piece in the atmosphere, an energy piece, that's allowing the continuous development of this rainstorm. It's not a severe thunderstorm. There's no damaging wind here. But obviously, the lightning and the rain make this a severe storm. It is a severe flooding rainstorm that now is edging into parts of Sevier County. So you can see how the main core of the heavy rain kind of stretches out of Anderson County, through Knox County, into Sevier County. The flash flood warnings that are in effect are really following the rain. You don't really issue a flash flood warning in advance of the rain. You have to look at the rainfall rates. You have to look at the rain that's fallen. And then as it tallies up, it gets to a point where you know that the area streams, the area culverts, the ditches and whatnot can't handle it. Then there's expected flash flooding, and there's ongoing flash flooding in many locations. So for Knox County, the expiration on this flash flood warning is at 1:30. So currently it is 1:03. we'll see, likely see some extension of this, some continuation of the warning in some fashion, but right now this particular warning is until 1:30. Separately, we have this warning out here, sort of wrapping around that, that has for Knox County until 3 a.m. So that really covers the core of the rain where it is right now. The first warning covered the core of the rain where it was. Now the new, where it has drifted, here's your new flash flood warning. That's for Knox County. There's also a piece of this in Anderson County, and it goes just to the east of Knoxville. So that's where the warnings are at this point. And so as you look at how this is evolving here, you see how it's kind of lifting a little bit, stretching out toward the east. But look at this new cell down here toward Louisville in northern Blount County, just blossoming away from the main core. And we're seeing what has now appeared to be a very heavy thunderstorm developing to the north and west of Maryville. We'll see if that will just move on by rather than back building like this particular cell did. But the heaviest of the storm looks to be pushing, let me stop the loop here, looks to be pushing just to the east of Knoxville. I think I've noticed that the lightning trend is down just a bit. I know it doesn't seem like it, but the lightning trend was much higher. In fact, if I go back an hour ago and we'll take a look at where we were lightning-wise, so this tally is a 15-minute lightning tally. So the lightning, and then it stays on the tally for 15 minutes and then drops off. So as you see, we've noticed the lightning up to about 500, almost 600 per 15 minutes as we've gone through this hour. So actually the lightning has trended up for a brief period of time. So that was that big burst of lightning right there, and then things are beginning to wane just a bit. Still a ton of lightning out there, and obviously that has been a huge, huge problem here across East Tennessee and for the Knox County area. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here and show you that. So you folks here, so Knoxville proper, so there's 640 out to East Knoxville, so Strawberry Plains, and then down in that stretch from Knox County toward the Sevier County or Seymour, you're seeing the heavy rain now. And again, that is where the warnings are, the flash flood warnings. Again, not a severe thunderstorm warning. You don't need a severe thunderstorm to produce severe conditions. Between the lightning and the rain, this is a tremendously significant storm cell that has developed and has stayed over the same area now for close to 2 hours, since before 11 o'clock. We've been watching this and monitoring it. So that's kind of how the situation is right now. Let me zoom out a little bit, and we'll take a look at those other storms that are now dropping down out of Kentucky. This is the line. This is the front. This will be coming through and moving on down. And as Victoria had pointed out, an interesting look to this is that while everything is drifting very slowly south, most of the rain is heading off toward the east. But look at the lightning here. Now, and this is a big wide view, so we're showing a big chunk of geography here. But we've got close to 1,400 lightning strikes in a 15-minute tally here, covering all of eastern Kentucky down all the way back up to Elizabethton there in northwest Kentucky. Just a dramatic complex of cells. The most severe storms are moving out of Kentucky into West Virginia, but the heaviest rain, where there are ongoing flooding concerns, down here across southern Kentucky. So right on the Tennessee-Kentucky line, so Whitley County, you've got flooding. This is moving over toward Bell County. You're looking just to the west of Harlan County. Just remarkable stuff. McCreary County, you've got a tremendous thunderstorm right on top of you right now. And there you see that isolated cell here over Knoxville. And there's some big thunderstorms drifting and developing over western North Carolina. So it's a turbulent night, and that's what we've been looking at here for the last couple of hours. And it looks like we'll probably have this now for at least 2 or 3 more hours, if not all the way till daybreak. It's going to take some time. It's a slow-moving system. And so we're going to continue to be updated on this. We'll continue to keep you tracking on the flash flood warnings. And we've got some crews out. We've got reports about the flooding in parts of Knox County. As Victoria had mentioned, there is reports of flash flood in Knox County with some cars stranded in water. So at night when the roads are flooded, not a good thing, because if you're driving and you can't see the road and all you do is see water, well, there you go. You're driving into a flooded roadway that very well may be no road there. It could be washed out. So you can The adage of turn around, don't drown, it sounds kind of trite, but it's a true statement. So many times, a major implication of the flooding is when folks drive into on a flooded road or toward a culvert or a ravine, and the water is so thick that the car lifts up and it drifts off the side of the road and into a ditch or down an embankment, or the road's flooded out, and you can't see the fact that it's flooded out and washed out, and you'll drive right into that. So especially at night when you can't see anything, let alone the fact of the roads up underneath there. So it looks like they have extended the flash flood warning. So this is a new flash flood warning for Anderson and Knox County until 3 a.m. So let's reset that, and we'll get in here a little bit tighter on Knoxville and Knox County and take a look at that. So we had this one existing warning that was to expire at 1:30. That is the warning I think they have just extended. The graphic may not have updated just yet. Well, there you go, 3 a.m. for Anderson. This particular flash flood warning also until 3 a.m. And then the one over toward Knoxville is until 3 a.m. So these warnings now will last for another 2 hours. And as we have mentioned, even though the rain may have ended, the flood warnings remain up until the flood waters recede. You don't have to have active heavy rain falling to keep the flood warnings going, and that's what we're seeing right now. So even in these areas where there's very little rain falling, the flash flood warning's in effect. But the tremendous rain and the rainfall rates that are now occurring here underneath and in that flood warning area, that's the main concern through Knoxville and Knox County. So out toward Carter, then moving in now, it's getting a little bit heavier here in northwestern Sevier County, and we're looking at that one cell kind of developing southward down Alcoa Highway, down toward the McGee-Tyson Airport and down toward Maryville. So that's something we're watching, that little extension there where there's some brief heavy rain. But obviously the core of the heavy rain, the flooding rain, is up here where those stronger signals are. We have been watching, so let's take a look at a couple of things here where we can look at these this excessive rain. So this is a 3-hour rainfall total. We are looking at, in some cases, 2 to 3 inches, I believe, that have fallen in this area, and probably more. So there's 3.6 inches in eastern Anderson County, so near Clinton, almost 4. For Knoxville, it's about 2.5 inches. Now, this isn't just in a short period of time. You can get 2 inches of rain over the course of a day, but you can't get 2 inches of rain over the course of a couple hours. That's going to create the flooding. And so this is a 3-hour rainfall total. There are other indications that the heavy rainfall rates are going to continue here for Knoxville for the next hour or so, especially the east side of Knoxville and over toward Strawberry Plains. That's where the heaviest rainfall rates are right now. So that is another thing we're looking at, is the fact that it looks like it's stretching, the heavy core of rain stretching off toward the east at this time. Once again, just a remarkable amount of rain. So here is a Doppler radar product that shows you rainfall rates per hour. So let me clear off the numbers here and look at some of this. Now this is what they look at when they start issuing these warnings. This is rainfall rates per hour based on Doppler radar signatures. So these purple shaded or brighter areas, that's 4.8 inches per hour. Now it may not rain on top of that one spot for 1 hour, but it is an indication that even if it rains for a half hour, you're looking at 2.5 more inches of rain. Here to the north of Knoxville, up toward Fountain City, also in that 4-inch per hour rainfall rate, and further east over East Knox County, about 1.5 inches per hour in that cell that's south of or moving toward Alcoa and McGee-Tyson Airport, about 1 3/4 inches per hour. Now, any rainfall rate that's over 1 inch an hour is going to create some issues. So this is like tropical air. This is deep tropical moisture being processed out of the storm to rainfall that is now flooding a good portion of Knox County and eastern Anderson County. That's a pretty remarkable look of what we're looking at in regard to, that's the rainfall rates. That's not the amount of rain that's fallen, that's the rate that it is falling right now out of those storms. Let me take you back to our radar picture here and show you that rain. So that's how it looks. You see just in this view here, the heaviest rain from Clinton. So it's kind of, again, back building. Remarkable that it hasn't rained and then moved on. It's like developing back, and it never really clears out. It's lifted a little bit now from downtown Knoxville. So that's good news there. The heaviest rain has moved away from the downtown area, but up here toward 640. So we're over, Asheville Highway eastward. We're out toward Washington Pike, Tazewell Pike. You're looking at some tremendous heavy rain as you head up toward Mascot. You've got some rain coming your way, as well as Corryton. Looks like the heaviest rain is just about moving in on you. East side of Knoxville, so East Knox County, east of the Tennessee River, and then over toward I-40, over toward Carter. You look like Strawberry Plains, really seeing some heavy rain falling right now. And then the rain beginning to stretch out. Looks like it's tapering off just a bit, but also we're seeing this redevelopment. You see this down here, South Knox, down toward northern Blount County. So we're talking about the area that's down, headed toward McGee-Tyson Airport. A core, I know we've got everything zeroed in here. If we expanded the view, and let me do that. Let me show you how this looks compared to the rest of the area. It's one intense thunderstorm over Knox County and Knoxville, and then elsewhere you're going, hey, wait, it's not raining at all. And that's the case right now. We've got no rain for Monroe County, no rain for Morgan County, none for Roane or out toward Cumberland. You've got a little bit of rain in parts of Anderson County, but where it is, it's flooding. A little bit of rain up toward La Follette, but the heaviest stuff is just across the border in southern Kentucky. So while we are focusing on this flash flood warning, and there are tremendous implications for the amount of rain that's fallen, it's not everywhere across our region. It's just in this one location. And so as long as we have this thread, as long as we're looking at some these severe conditions in regard to flooding, we'll continue to bring you these updates online and over our social media pages. We do have the ability to take a look at what may happen with this rain. And now again, this is computer modeling, so take this for a little bit of for what it's worth. But this is how the computer modeling looks over the next hour, and it shows everything just drifting off toward the east, drifting slowly to the east, but maybe moving out of the flood zone. And also you see the heavy rain that's dropping down out of Kentucky, heading more toward the east-southeast, and perhaps weakening just a bit. The trend in the modeling has always been that this would weaken through the night. And while the rain will be heavy, the chance for severe storms may be limited. But unfortunately, any more additional rain that drops down toward Knox County is going to bring some complications and implications of more flooding. But we'll see what happens. Again, this is modeling our future scan, the future radar, what it may look like for the next hour. So let's go back now and talk about what the rain looks like right now. And this is the last hour. So this is a time lapse, if you will, of our radar pictures over the last hour. The lightning, not only of the storm for Knoxville, which has been tremendous, but, and again, I got a bigger picture here, so I'm showing you more of the storm, but you're going to be hard-pressed to find thunderstorms that are producing as much lightning as this is that's dropping down in southeast Kentucky. So the border counties here right along Tennessee seeing unbelievable amounts of lightning. And I noticed in Victoria, Victoria Cavaliere's here, she's been with you all night long. The lightning, when I woke up with the first warning, I thought the street lights were broken and were flashing.
I mean, the lightning has been incredible.
Yeah, I had never seen lightning I've seen some big thunderstorms, but I haven't seen as much flashes of lightning in just continuous, nonstop lightning. Yep. That's what's happening right here across southeast Kentucky. I'll tell you what, pick up our tower cam and just show those pictures again. Let's see if there's lightning is still showing up like it was. If you could go back to our there's still some flashes of lightning. So we're looking off toward the north here. So this is downtown Knoxville in the Embassy Suites downtown cam. We're looking northward. And there's still lightning just filling the sky. That's the cell that's up more toward North Knox County and over toward Anderson County. It's unbelievable. The lightning is just filling the clouds and filling the sky. And one of the things with the storm is that there's so much moisture that has fallen, and there's so much moisture in the air, there's so much rain that's falling, it does create a little reflective enhancement, if you will, and creates even a more dramatic lightning picture that we're seeing there. But it is pretty amazing. Wow, I'm just watching the lightning. It is really amazing. So just a recap here. We do have the flash flood warning that has been extended. Both flash flood warnings for Anderson and Knox County remain in effect and will be that way until 3 a.m. And the flash flood warnings up here across southeast Kentucky and about to move in toward Harlan. We're looking at the flash flood warnings in Bell County, the flash flood warnings in Whitley County, and also in McCreary County, still in effect, and they go until 3 to 3:30. So the warnings there will last an even longer time. And the reason for that is this stuff's not moving. It's not getting southward in any hurry. It's only moved about 5 miles over the last hour, and that's creating these flash flood conditions. Eric, if you have the ability to bring up, Victoria, will you be able to?
I'm trying to see here, Justin, if our hand tracker's working.
I
can't.
All right. Well, don't put this up on the air just yet. If you get it working, then by all means just jump in.
I'll let you know.
So that's kind of what we're looking at right now with those Kentucky storms. It's a remarkable picture. So if we take the lightning off just for a minute and just look at the rain, there's some severe weather here. We can show you the radar out of Jackson, Kentucky, give you a little bit better idea of the kind of storms we're doing up there. So the Pikeville, north of Hazard, so this is up in eastern Kentucky in the Jackson television market. There are some severe thunderstorm warnings, but it's primarily just rain. But it's so heavy, and that area of Kentucky, and frankly that area right along the Kentucky-Tennessee line is prone to flash flooding. You've got mountains, you've got hollers, you've got just channeling and funneling effect for this rain down to small creeks and streams. There's no real anywhere for that water to kind of set and percolate into the ground. It just runs off. And so it doesn't take much really in this particular area of the country, the particular area of our viewing area, for flash flooding to occur. If you think back to the Greenbrier flooding in Sevier County, it was just funneled and focused in that one small section of Sevier County, but it funneled that water down toward the west prong of the Pigeon River, and the flooding was like that. And so that's kind of the process we're looking at here, is this tremendous amount of rain in a small geographic area focused on locations that really can't handle any more rain. So that is how things look up there. Let me get you back to the radar in Morristown. That'll take you better pictures of the East Tennessee rain. And as you see, it's kind of an interesting feature. It looks like everything's kind of moving to the east and maybe even northeast now. So it's kind of growing this direction away from Knoxville. There's still some heavy rain in Knoxville and just on the east side. So east Knoxville, then up toward Broadway, and then further north up toward Maynardville Pike under tremendous rain. North Knox County, Halls, Powell, flooding ongoing there. Up into the area here, up Tazewell Pike into northeastern Knox County. It's starting to grow up toward Blaine and Corrigan. And then also out I-40 eastward toward Strawberry Plains. That's where the heavy rain, and it looks like the core of the strongest rain is now stretching southward out of Knoxville, down Chapman Highway, and then over toward Maryville. It looks like that little appendage is moving compared to the rest of them, which appears to, at least in this last maybe 15 minutes, maybe beginning to relent, if you will. The ongoing flash flooding, though, is of a concern, and you see that these warnings, again, for Knox County, also parts of Anderson County. Not as much rain has been falling over here toward Oak Ridge. Even though Oak Ridge, you're under the flash flood warning, the rain has lifted away there. Clinton, for sure, and we could zero in a little bit more and show you that for areas. In fact, let's get in on this one particular area here of Anderson County. So, and then into Knox County. So high school area. So this is up around Emory Road, up I-75 North. So we're up around Skunk Valley Road. There's the Norris Freeway. Just unbelievable. Raccoon Valley Road, up right on the Anderson, Knox County line. Just unbelievably heavy rain there. There's East Emory Road, so you're heading out here toward Halls High School. You've got the heaviest of rain coming your way. It looks like it's about to let up some for Fountain City. There's the Central High School, but over toward a little bit further east along 640 East out toward I-40, right there at that split. Heaviest of rain in that location. It's moved. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a breather there. I'm not sure we can get the hand tracker working, but I figured I could talk a little bit over some of the graphics too. But you are right. I've noticed that we've seen at least a little bit of a decrease in coverage there. And guys, maybe we can bring up the graphics on they get traffic so that they can kind of get an idea of what the radar looks like there. But luckily, we started to notice a little bit of a decrease in coverage from where we had this very first warning put out, the flash flood warning, the first one. And again, guys, this is going to be our traffic computer, if you can. But I just wanted to kind of highlight that they're near Claxton, that peak area, Amherst, Edgemoor. It looks like we've seen slightly less coverage of some of those storms and some less heavy rainfall there, which is good news at least for those locations. But still going to be a big flooding concern. Justin, in the time that you've been here, have you seen them put that considerable tag on any of the flash flood warnings? Because I hadn't noticed that yet until tonight, but certainly going to be something that we need to kind of keep our eyes on here.
So the sort of the elevated flood warning, I have not noticed that, and I'm looking here in their chat room, they have not done that, though a new report has just dropped here at 1:22 a.m. that law enforcement reports a flash flooding going on right now, Central Avenue and Irwin Drive underwater. So that's in Knoxville.
Boy.
That is just to the west of downtown Knoxville. Central Avenue and Irwin Drive underwater as reports from law enforcement in Knox County.
And yeah, Justin, just to let you know, that first warning that they had, the one that initially went until 1:30, they actually did wind up putting that considerable tag on it early. So they wrote it inside the description there. You'd have to like go in and kind of click the warning. But that was interesting. But at those locations seem to be where we've seen some slightly lesser rainfall over the past hour or so. Guys, if you can show that other map there you go, 3-hour rainfall. So I've got queried up here some locations, and this especially near Claxton, that's where I've been seeing some of the heaviest totals. This is radar estimated rainfall, and this is over 6 hours now because this has been going on for quite a bit. And they're coming close to maybe 5 to 6 inches of rain. But what's important here to note is that the most recent radar shows that actually now near Oak Ridge, Solway, Edgemoor, they're actually seeing a little bit of a break. That doesn't mean that their flooding concern is over. Of course, flooding can linger even after we stop seeing some of the rain, but most of this heavy rain, this axis of kind of torrential rain, has moved into portions of that Alice Bell Elementary area, kind of up near Cedar Grove by Central High School, and even in locations that are not officially under the flash flood warning, which, as Justin mentioned earlier, does now continue until 3 o'clock in the morning. And notice they expanded the original flash flood warning till 3 as well, even though the radar is quieter right now because, as I mentioned, that flooding is likely going to continue for the next several hours. So if you have to be up really early in the morning, if you've got to head to work or school, or you're going somewhere early, if you're an early riser, I do suggest that you give yourself extra time. There could still be some flooding issues there as well. I also took a moment earlier to kind of give our reporter Wes Cooper a call. He had been out in Powell tonight, and he told me that there was several areas that were without power. The street lights were out, the stoplights were also out there as well. And he also noticed that he did see that Berkshire Road in Powell was impassable, and he also reported that Sharp Road in Powell was impassable. This was just about an hour ago or so when he saw that. We're also continuing to watch the potential for a tree down or two in Powell as a result of some of this heavy rain in those storms. So there could be some storm damage that lingers into early tomorrow morning.
Hey, Victoria?
Yes, Justin.
In the most recent flash flood warning that just came from the Weather Service,
did they take out the tag?
Well, I don't see that specific tag, but they mentioned that parts of Central are under 5 to 6 feet of water.
Parts of
Central Street. Now this is near Irwin, so this is if you take, I'm going to ask you to ping pong a little bit here. This is what we're looking at. So this is I-40 through Knoxville. So you've got Magnolia stretching here to East Knoxville. So here's Central moving up. So this is the Gill, so the 4th and Gill area, and we are on the west side of Broadway, where Central runs northwestward away. So in this area, according to the National Weather Service, and this is reports from law enforcement, parts of Central Street under 5 to 6 feet of water.
Wow.
And so this could be impacting homes. This could be especially low spots where there might be some small houses or houses that are right next to some of the drainage area. I know First Creek, Second Creek runs through this location. So yeah, that's pretty remarkable wording in that flash flood warning.
Yeah, and Justin, if you scroll down all the way kind of to the bottom where it says that flash flood damage threat, that's, I think, where they've been putting the considerable tag, if you kind of see that down there. But that is really, really concerning if they're reporting 5 to 6 feet of water, again, into parts of Central Street. And they're saying that flash flooding is, of course, ongoing. So this is going to be a concern. Even if it stops raining in those areas, they're going to hold on to this threat for the next several hours, at least, based on kind of what we're seeing here. I want to take another look to see if I can, if we have got the graphic in here, which I think we do, of our power outages. And right now we've got about 7,500 customers there without power in Knox County. Yeah, Justin.
There you go. I wanted to take the right graphic.
Yeah, so here's our Knox County power outages, about 7,500 customers. Last time I checked in on the KUB outage map, most of this was centered around Powell, and then some of it was also near Clinton and Claxton in Anderson County. But this number has kind of been fluctuating up and down. And what's been happening is because we've been seeing such frequent lightning, that has caused some issues, obviously, with power outages across the area. That is not the camera that I want, but let's see if I can find one of the cameras that I do want. Market Square there. I don't know if that camera's working.
That looks dry. No, that can't be. That
doesn't think it's the right one, but that, how does that Embassy Suites camera look, Justin?
Let's take a look. You know what? Let's go ahead and
they got it up.
There
yeah.
you go. There you go. Now what I'm going to do, still the lightning's going crazy. Let me kind of swing. I probably can. Wow, that lightning's remarkable. It's possible, and I'm going to do this on the fly here, so forgive us as we kind of do things in real time, but I can maybe adjust that camera.
I know, it got almost like a little blurry.
Yeah, it got a little out of focus, and I don't know if that's because of the rain or the lightning, and I think that we can just tweak that focus up just a hair, and that may help. It takes a second to see it in real time, but it may tighten up there you go, tightens up the focus just a little bit. And then I'm going to zero it in over here on the north end of Hall of Fame. I'm going to move just a little bit to the east. Now this big bright red light is a beacon on top of the Embassy Suites Hotel. So I'll zero in beyond that and maybe just get down here toward those intersections of Summit and Hall of Fame. Now they're elevated.
They just issued a severe thunderstorm warning, Justin. For Campbell, Claiborne, Hancock, and Hawkins counties.
Oh my goodness, so that's that whole line.
No, it's actually more for what's coming out of Kentucky.
Well, that's why, you know, well, there you go. I see the warning has just popped up. So it didn't look like, and I'm not going to second guess. It didn't look like those cells were as strong as that, but you know well, there you go. Campbell, Claiborne, Hancock, and Hawkins County, and Lee County in Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so there you see our downtown camera. We're kind of focused in that Summit, Hall of Fame, and where those all come together. And those roads are elevated, so it's difficult to see. There is part of, I think it's First Creek that runs underneath this. It's sort of the cross between the First Creek and a drainage area. Sometimes that really fills up with water very quickly, but in the night it may not be able to see it. But regardless, it looks like the rain has let up in this area of Knoxville, which is a good thing. Now we've kind of gone back to that other, what appears to be one old image, which is that's a little strange.
I also have up here, I wanted to touch on it quickly, if they can switch over there to traffic, is that severe thunderstorm warning that just came out. And it is for part of Claiborne County, Also, it includes a little bit of Sneedville. Hold on here while I kind of get my mouse going. Yeah, so Campbell, Claiborne, Hancock, Hawkins, and Lee County, Virginia. And as Justin said, these are the storms that are kind of moving out of southeast Kentucky. I was checking out our radar, and it does look like Morristown radar is still the best one to use. So let's play it forward for you over the past 15 minutes. Storms have drifted a little bit to the south and east, and based on what they're seeing, there's heavy rainfall with this. But I want to see if there's any winds that are kind of sticking out to me.
If you could take the traffic computer here, where Victoria is located, and switch, there you go.
There we go, guys. So here's a look at some of our winds. And of course, where I see the worst winds, it is not where they put the warning, but that's okay. But this bright, bright green color, that tells me that there could be some gustier winds. I want to check in and see how fast they said that it's moving. It said it's moving east at 40 miles per hour. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible, so they're not really looking at a threat for hail here. Remember, we kind of reviewed earlier what you have to have for a severe thunderstorm warning, because someone asked us on social, why wasn't there a severe thunderstorm warning put out for what was over Knox County? And that's because they don't put those warnings out just for rain. You've got to have wind gusts 58 miles per hour or greater, hail 1/4 inch in diameter, or a tornado. So for this severe thunderstorm warning that expands a big area, it is because of that potential for gusty to damaging winds.
Victoria, that wind signature there just north of Middlesboro, north of Harrogate, that's at about 65 to 70 miles per hour there. Now that's up in the cloud.
Right.
Not necessarily it's going to mix all the way down to the ground, but anywhere from 50 to 60 miles per hour is possible right there.
Definitely. And are they under the warning though?
They're out of the warned area.
Right. That's in Bell County, if I'm correct there. Yeah, kind of near Colmar.
The warning is kind of just to capture that storm as it moves into Tennessee and Virginia, but it doesn't include that section of Kentucky where the strongest wind is. So some vagary there in the warning, but suffice to say that it's bad anywhere near that line of storms.
I agree, and so if you guys are in Kentucky, that is kind of near the Colmar area, south of Bell County High School. If they want to switch over to the traffic there we go. You guys can see, I mean, that could be 58-mile-per-hour winds. We'll have to see. That would be Jackson's territory, I think, to issue the warning, right, Justin? So if they were going to put one out, I guess it would be Jackson, Kentucky.
That's Bell County?
Bell County, is that Jackson's DMA, or is that still Morristown? I mean, that's some very gusty winds there. The radar is maybe not as impressive with the rain as what they put the warning out for here.
If that is Jackson, and that's probably the reason why Morristown has warned in that particular fashion, is that Jackson County National Weather Service has not warned on it, but the warning coordinators there in Morristown see it differently. And you got human eyeballs in two different National Weather Service offices looking at the same storm.
Right.
And what Morristown is saying is that wind that we were showing you there north of Middlesboro is going to move into that section of Lee County and then eventually down into Tennessee. Looks like the wind has dropped off. Yeah,
it did. It just kind of dropped down. There's still some more significant wind back here near Clarefield Elementary. It's about 40-mile-per-hour winds. This is to the west of Bryson Mountain. And this is under the severe thunderstorm warning. That's for part of Claiborne County. So I think what's going to be part of my concern tonight is, how does this front move? Does it mainly clip places east of Knoxville? Because that would be good news for them with rain. But if it continues to drop straight south, we may have an additional flooding concern going into later tonight. But again, if you're joining us, they put out that severe thunderstorm warning because of potential wind damage for parts of Claiborne, Hancock, Lee County, Virginia, and also Campbell County there, and that goes until 2:15 in the morning. Heavy rain, but gusty winds are going to be their biggest concern with that. That's why they went ahead and put that out. The wind signature, as Justin mentioned, though, looks like it came down at least a little bit, but here into Campbell County, kind of on the northwestern edge of the county.
Yeah, just north of La Follette, right up there on the Tennessee line.
That's where the strongest winds are. A little stronger wind.
But, if that trend continues, I wouldn't be surprised to see them drop that warning here. Because
I agree.
There's just not as much wind. And it may have been elevated, and you've got the Cumberland Mountains right there. They can kind of attenuate some of those wind signatures a little bit.
Right.
But, they're justified if they're seeing 60 mile per hour winds to issue that warning.
And the other thing I want to check on quick is this heavy rain flood product. And you can see, switching back over to Knox, Anderson counties, it's come down some in our initial area, but now we've got more of this yellowish color back near Chilhowie Hills, Asheville Highway, Rutledge Pike, and Central High School. So they could be the ones that are seeing some more of the significant rain, and that's because the radar's kind of pushed it a little bit further east. I'm just happy, Justin, to see that the rain has moved, because for over an hour, it felt like that storm was sitting and dumping rain over the same spot.
That was an amazing aspect. Weather Service is they're estimating 5 to 6 inches of rain here. I know the Doppler radar product may lag a little bit in regard to the real-time rainfall, and it's going to take some ground truth to pick up exactly how much fell. But they have estimated 5 to 6 inches of rain.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah. But you're right, though. It has the core of it is now out in East Knox County and away from downtown Knoxville proper.
Right.
And it stretches back up there toward high school, and it's still kind of raining there in Clinton and parts of Anderson County.
And of course, just because it stops raining doesn't mean, as you mentioned, that the flooding threat is over. This is going to be an issue into the morning hours there as well. But I'm glad to see it started to move at least a little bit. Still very, very frequent lightning, though. We had 1 or 2 hail really early this evening, but that's not been a big concern with these storms.
No.
Just so much moisture. I heard you earlier, Justin, talking about tropical moisture. I mean, it's impressive what these storms dumped.
I lived in the Tampa area for several years, and there'd be nights when it would never drop below 80 degrees, and the dew points would be 78, 70. That's what it felt like out there yesterday and this morning. Just this deep tropical air. And here is a problem today, that even after this rain clears out, which will take probably the rest of the morning to do, and we get into the afternoon hours, the humidity's not going away. In fact, I saw instances that the dew points were going to be higher today.
I know.
In the 75, dew point is a measure of atmospheric moisture. So the higher that number is, and the closer it is to the air temperature, it's just you're saturated. But the higher that number and the warmer you are, that leads to those heat index temperatures. So while it may not get to 90 for a high, you've got a dew point that could be 77. And so we're talking about heat index temperatures in the sunshine in the middle of the day, later this afternoon, that could go well over 100 degrees, even though the air temperature may not get to 90. The atmosphere is like Key West type atmosphere with moisture as thick as you'll ever see it for East Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, it's so saturated. Also, Justin, I may have missed it, but so now they do have, it looks like, that flash flood warning for McCreary County there too, McCreary and Whitley counties. I think earlier they had a flood advisory. I guess they might have upgraded that to a flash flood warning for McCreary and Whitley counties. Also Wayne County there in Kentucky until 3:30 in the morning. I think I kind of skipped through that maybe.
Well, I definitely talked about that when you had stepped out for a minute, that we covered that across those Kentucky border counties. And we've got, we're showing those warnings right now, and so while the rain may have ended, and as Victoria had just mentioned, it's obviously going to take some time for this water to drain out and recede. And here's one of the critical things about flash flooding like we have, is that the water will come up and it will flood spots that typically don't drain very well. And so this water may be sticking around for a little while until it can slowly drain out. And so there may be some ongoing flooding issues even though the rain's out, and most places may have dried out. Those notoriously flood-prone areas, this water is going to stick around for a while in Knoxville and Knox County.
Definitely. I agree with you, Justin. And we'll have to watch and kind of make sure that this cluster of storms here continues that motion eastward, because we don't want to have another situation where it sits over the same locations and then they've got to issue another flood warning.
Right.
But again, if you're joining us, we've got those 2 flash flood warnings in Knox and Anderson counties. We also have some flash flood warnings up into Kentucky where they've seen some stronger storms. And we do still have the severe thunderstorm warning as well for portions of Campbell, Claiborne, Hancock, Lee County, Virginia. Even it clips a little portion there of Hawkins. But we'll see how long they hold this, because the main concern at least had been gusty to damaging winds. Querying some of the wind speeds, maybe 40 to 45 mile per hour winds possible.
Right.
But, some of the rain, it's still got a long way to go before it gets into Hawkins County. So I don't know if the storm's even moving as fast as they think it might be. They put it at 40 miles per hour.
Yeah, I don't see, the core of those storms are not moving 40 miles per hour. You hate to sit here and second guess a warning, and you want to be, respect the polygon, if you will, that's out there. But these storms are not moving at 40. They're drifting slowly eastward. I do think, though, and looking at that picture right there that you have up on your computer, I think the wind processes that are helping to push that Kentucky line eastward are now beginning to influence the cell that's been over Knoxville.
Yes,
and
yeah,
so
that's a great idea, because if I kind of loop it here, this is 15 minutes. You can see you're right, that's dropping down a little bit from Kentucky. It's moving more southeast. So it's kind of forcing our Knox County flooding situation to move as well.
Yeah. So while that's good news for Knoxville and good news for West Knox and up toward Anderson County, the bad news is now this heavy rain's moving down I-40 and we're heading toward over toward Mascot and northern sections of Sevier County. Eventually this will get over toward Dandridge and Jefferson County and Granger County. So be ready for some tremendously heavy rain upstream from this along I-40 east out of Knox County. And those warnings, those cells moving into that severe warned area, man, I'm not going to second guess. They just don't look that strong. But there's a tremendous amount of lightning, and obviously there's heavy rain there, and the flooding concerns up along those Kentucky border counties are real. So McCreary County and Whitley County, those are going to continue on for a while because that rain also slowly moving through.
Yeah, and I mean, we said it a lot tonight, but obviously, if you're out and about, you've got to be out and about early in the morning. You never want to drive through flooded roadways. Big issue tonight is, of course, that the flooding's happened overnight when you can't tell how much water's on the road. Honestly, you oftentimes can't tell at all, but just 6 inches of water is enough to float most people. And so that's going to continue to be a concern overnight. We've also started to notice now some rain and storms developing into Gatlinburg, portions of Sevier County. None of those severe warned, but also seeing not as much movement over some of the higher peaks of the Smokies. So heavy rain,
that's a
big
concern
issue.
Right there for sure. In fact, let's do this. I am going to
They put out another severe thunderstorm warning.
So that's the cell that's coming out of Knoxville.
Yeah.
Granger. And I had noticed some wind definitely trended up with that, just east of Mascot over in East Knox County. I noticed the wind on radar was trending up just a little bit. Not remarkable, but compared to where we were, the wind has definitely perked up. And so, that wind product showing 40 mile per hour max, but some of the velocity products are a little bit stronger than that when you see the inbound wind there toward the radar site in Morristown. So right there at the sort of the confluence of those counties between Knox and Sevier and Jefferson County, that's where the strongest wind is right now. Yeah.
And again, if you're just joining us, this is a new severe thunderstorm warning that they've put out. This is for Jefferson County, Granger County, Hamblin County, but it's for this storm that's kind of making its way out of Knox County. It's what affected us earlier with that flash flooding. They're concerned about some 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Now they've marked that one down a little bit, so moving east at about 20 miles per hour, that sounds more reasonable to me, based on what I think we could be seeing here. Let's see if any sort of trackers coming on there. You can give you a few roads or towns, excuse me, here if they could be impacted. Carter at about 156. Getting into Midway at about 159, Peters Mill 159 there as well. So interesting, Justin, is that also we've kind of noticed those storms got a little bit stronger over places that haven't already seen rain. I think if we are going to see some more storms over Knox, Anderson County, they're probably not going to be severe. I mean, the atmosphere has been so worked over.
Yeah, it's been worked over pretty good. If you could take links 2 and pull up the tower cam out of Gatlinburg. I've got it pulled up.
Great.
That storm is ongoing, and it's actually the lightning has really trended up here over parts of Sevier County. So you're looking at the Gatlinburg Skylift Park camera. Gatlinburg downtown proper, not as much rain, but the lightning had really trended up there over the last 15-20 minutes, especially due east of Gatlinburg. You see the lightning flashing there, and that is obviously a concern, because we're talking about a region that had those floods a couple weeks ago. And this is a similar area. The good news here that I'm seeing perhaps is that this will move on into western North Carolina, perhaps steadily.
Yeah, I agree, Justin. I mean, this is just, it's a lot to kind of cover tonight, because we've got so many different storms, but we're definitely starting to notice more of an impact now from the front. And that was something that was so interesting earlier tonight at like 10 o'clock, was because the front was still so far away that cell popped up and then it didn't move.
Yeah.
So still the potential there, though, for these storms to have some gusty winds. I haven't gotten a chance to check it recently, but earlier tonight I was looking at some of our energy, our CAPE available, and I mean, it was high, 4,000 joules of CAPE over parts of East Tennessee. So if those storms can get going, there's a lot of energy.
You know, the thunderstorm fuel, at 20, it's a measure of the potential energy that's in the atmosphere. And so we're talking about a lot is 2,000.
Right,
so,
right.
So 4,000 is stuff you would see sort of in the spring over the southern plains or Oklahoma or Alabama in their spring severe weather season. So for that to happen in July over East Tennessee, just indicative of how loaded up the atmosphere is, and it doesn't take much to trigger these tremendous thunderstorms. I'm not going to be surprised if we're warning on this eastern end of it. When these cells drop into the northern sections of the Cumberland Plateau, I would suspect you're going to see flood warnings also follow and potential severe thunderstorm warnings. It's far away from any significant radar site to get a good sampling of the wind flow in these storms, but everything is lined up very similar, and we've warned everywhere along this front, whether it's severe or flooding.
Right.
So you folks here in the northern sections, right along the Campbell County, and then points westward as you go west towards Scott County, you're going to likely go under some sort of a warning here. If you're joining us on our website or on our social media platforms, first of all, thanks. And then secondly, just be ready for some changing, threatening weather conditions. The story in Knoxville has been 5 to 6 inches of rain and flooding throughout the night, and flash flood warnings remain in effect. Now, for downtown Knoxville proper, it looks like the heaviest, well, it doesn't look like it. The heaviest rain has moved on. So there's some lingering light showers. Up here north of Halls, still heavy rain. And then that curves back over to the north of High School and then right on the Anderson County line. To the east, and this is the strongest of the storm now, what's left of it, so we're pushing away from East Knox County. We're pushing past Strawberry Plains, moving in toward that one section of Sevier County and then into Jefferson County, and that's the reason why there is a severe thunderstorm warning now for Jefferson County, because embedded in this cell, and that's really the strongest cell, that's where it's crossing out of those counties and into Jefferson County, and that warning goes until 2:30. So currently it is 1:50. So for another 40 minutes, this warning will be in effect. So we'll keep an eye on that. Stronger storms, extreme northern sections of Sevier County. So we've moved out past Kodak, and up there, you see there toward the Smoky Stadium, you've got a lot of heavy rain. And Victoria, the best thing I'm seeing out of this, tornado warning.
What?
I don't know. I just saw a graphic pop up. I'm sorry. Forgive me. That was just, hey, we're all kind of flying here.
Yeah.
You know, so then there's lots of stuff, lots of things, elements, graphics, artifacts that may every once in a while pop up. There are no tornado warnings. But there is a severe thunderstorm warning.
Yes.
The good news here, Victoria, that I'm seeing, and we've noticed this, you've mentioned it, is that it's beginning to move.
Yeah, thankfully.
So the torrential rain, even though it's heavy and it's bad and moving out toward Dandridge, it's on the move. So Morristown, you got about 30 minutes, and that storm will probably be in your way or on your way. Up along the Hawkins, Hancock, Claiborne County area, that storm looks bad. We've seen the strongest signal here, especially there in the western sections of Claiborne County. That looks to be where the strongest part of that storm is. So we're right on the Campbell-Claiborne County line, north of Braden. So, you know, this is an area right up to the Kentucky state line. That's probably the strongest part of that cell. And if you know, there'll probably be some wind in that. But really, it's the rain, I think, is the big story.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that the widespread rain, too, is going to have the biggest impact. But I was taking a look a little bit here at some of maybe our winds potential, and this is kind of near that Arthur community. I'm using a radar product here based on how fast they said these storms are moving, although they could be going a little stronger than that. And see, if you notice, they don't even have heavy rain there, so we are going to be watching this as it kind of creeps through. Technically, Hancock County, Lee, Virginia, Hawkins County, you guys are under the warning until 2:15, but if this storm falls apart at all, they may wind up canceling you out of it. But Justin was showing us earlier, this back here near Carter, Blue Springs Christian Academy, 4 Points, Smoky Stadium, the Kodak, Midway. This is the storm that's going to be tracking into the warning, and it's already producing some gusty winds here. If we zoom in a little bit, kind of near the Hodges area, this is near Esslinger Road, about 42-mile-per-hour winds. So we've got a few different hazards, but the biggest concern by far is still the flooding across portions of East Tennessee. I want to show you our rainfall estimates. Let's do some 6-hour rainfall totals because it's still so impressive to me back here near Claxton and Peak.
Wow. Bull
Run. I mean, this is almost 6 inches of rain.
So an inch an hour, and
right.
It hasn't really. Now 6 hours would put us back. Let's see. It's that would be 8 o'clock. It wasn't raining there at 8.
Right, but if you go to 3 hours, you can see how much it drops.
So when the rain began, which was more toward 10 o'clock, really. So we're really looking at 2 hours, 6 inches in 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 to 3 hours. So 2 inches an hour for 3 hours, and there you go. You were talking about flash flooding.
Right.
On the east, what's those rainfall totals there on the east side of Knoxville there for East Knox over toward Austin East High School? That's 2.5 inches in 3 hours.
Yep.
That's just going to the flood-prone areas, the streets that don't drain well, the small streams, the ditches, the drainage areas. That fills up instantly, and with nowhere to go, this is causing the street flooding. And in some cases, we're talking about streets that are under feet of water on the north side of Knoxville.
And of course, we just want to encourage people, if you do have any reports and it's safe to do so, please let us know. You can let us know by emailing us, by tagging us on Twitter, on Facebook, because we pass that along to the Weather Service, and that helps give them an idea of, whether or not they've got the right areas covered, at least in regards to flooding. We're still seeing, though, some very heavy rain back here near Copper Ridge, but it's kind of exiting. It's moving up towards Gibbs Elementary. We've noticed a little bit of almost a break in this because earlier this entire cell was just torrential rainfall, but that's not the only area. We still have to watch this stuff that's bubbled up in Sevier County as well. It's not severe warned right now, but it is producing heavy rain. And the front is slow moving, Justin. It's not going too fast, but a lot to talk about tonight with those severe thunderstorm warnings and that flash flood warning there as well. Also, I know, of course, Justin, you're going to have to get ready for Good Morning Tennessee too. Have you noticed anything else from the Weather Service? Any reports or anything they put out there?
Nothing for about the severe weather or the flooding in the past 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
I want to kind of zoom in. If we could take the BAM computer here, I want to zoom in on the severe thunderstorm warning. So the warning is for parts of Jefferson County until 2:30. So we've got about another 35 minutes under this warning. This area, so Jeff City, of any of the storms that are out there right now, this looks to be the strongest one. I've noticed some wind here, and we'll look at some of these radar products. The wind in a few of these spots is extremely strong. So we're talking about winds that could be in excess of 50 miles per hour, maybe a bit more. 45 miles per hour. So this is inbound wind. The radar site is up toward Morristown. So winds are gusting out ahead of this thunderstorm in the western sections of Jefferson County. So this wind is blowing in this direction, and radar is sampling that wind in the cloud at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, and maybe even stronger than that. Does all that wind make it down to the ground? Possibly not. But if there was going to be some wind issues here across Jefferson County, it would be in that brighter shaded. So this is wind product. This shows where the wind is zooming in toward the radar site, and it is in this area to the west of Jefferson City, near the Blue Springs Christian Academy. All of this is pressing toward Jeff City here in western Jefferson County. That area is.
See if the hand trackers
is where the strongest winds are. So if it's going to work down toward the surface, that's where you may see some wind damage. So this is north of I-40, so it is west of Morristown, west of Jefferson City. So we're in between the lakes here. So we've got Douglas Lake and Cherokee Lake. So you're in between that area there in western Jefferson County. So Newmarket, that was the town. Newmarket, let's be ready for this. That's where the strongest wind is in this severe thunderstorm warning, which is currently in effect for Jefferson County. Can you take, and I don't know if you've got an answer to that about the hand tracker?
No, it doesn't seem like it's going there, Justin.
That's unfortunate. So you know, so wow. I guess the case for us to continue to monitor the storm is the fact that this is getting actually stronger. So it's not sitting still and producing flooding rain, while it will likely produce an inch or two of rain. It's the wind right at the edge of the rain that appears to be the biggest concern, and that's the reason for the Weather Service to give us this severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 for Jefferson County, and I think it cuts in part of Granger County as well. So we're, you know, it's right along and in between the rivers out here, and between the lakes. So you see Cherokee Lake and Douglas Lake. That storm, that's the strongest storm. It's bad in East Knox County, obviously, still, but the wind that is being produced by this cell, moving out of Knox County, moving off of that section of Sevier County, that area right there in western Jefferson County, that will likely have the strongest severe weather signature of any, really, in all of East Knox County.
Sorry, Justin, I'm trying to see if I can get the hand tracker to work here, but it's not really cooperating too well with me this evening.
We have if you've ever watched some of the severe weather coverage, it's the first time it's really come through in the middle of the night. It's been a while since we've had to deal with overnight severe weather. But when you have watched, especially the tornadoes back, it was April of last year.
I think it's working.
Oh, good. Was it April of last year, the tornadoes that went to Scott County?
Yes.
Where Ken and Victoria, and part of the remarkable coverage that they had that day was they were able to use this, what's called hand tracker, which I believe... I'm
hoping.
We're hoping that it's going to work. And so go ahead and take camera 3 on the chroma key wall, and let's have Victoria do some...
Let's see. Oh, look at that, guys. So basically what I've been trying to see is if these buttons would light up, because what's really cool is that we're using our green screen right now, and essentially it's picking up the motion of my hand, and that is going to let me kind of touch some of these buttons here, or not really touch them, but point to them so that we can highlight some different information for you. So again, Justin was talking about the severe thunderstorm warning earlier. This is that one for Claiborne County, and you can see the very heavy rain there near Speedwell. Now I'm going to try to just show you guys what we're seeing here with our radar products. Let's see if this can turn on for me there. Hold on. Get out of this. If it will let me, which it's not having a fun time. It's going to let me move it. Interesting. We're a little stuck, Justin. It's funny because it's lighting it up, but it won't actually let me move the map much. You know, it tends to let me move it. I wonder if this chair is it's being picked up on. Sorry, guys. A lot of technical stuff here. No, I don't think so. But well,
I'm gonna rack my collective memory, because something in my memory over the years where that's happened to me.
It looks like it's lighting up, but yet I can't actually do any movement with it. Whether, you know what I mean, it won't actually move the map, no matter what I press here. Let's try one other thing over here while I'm here. See if I can do this. Hold on. I don't want to disconnect it.
All right. While Victoria is taking a look at maybe doing a little tweaking on that, let's come back over, if you will, to the larger monitor here and talk about what's going on. Just sort of give you a reset. So we're at 2 o'clock in the morning here on a Thursday. We appreciate you checking us out here on our digital broadcasts to cover the concerns in regard to the flooding and the severe weather potential of the storms developing across southern Kentucky, southeast Kentucky, and into East Tennessee. Victoria has been with us all evening. We joined her about an hour ago, and we'll continue to monitor this until the severity kind of weakens a little bit, and we can take a breath and take a break. Well, of course, when we get to Good Morning Tennessee, starting at 4:30, we'll have a full update and recap. But just to sort of reset everything here, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Granger, for Jefferson counties. That's for this thunderstorm cell moving eastward. We have severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Hawkins, Claiborne, and Hancock County. Those warnings will go until 2:15, so it is currently 2:02, so for about another 15 minutes or so. And then there are flood warnings in effect for the border counties of Kentucky as that line has drifted southward. The reason we started this coverage this evening was the flash flood warnings that were in effect for parts of Knox County. So as you, or Knoxville proper, and especially over toward parts of Anderson County, up toward Clinton and over toward Claxton.
And Justin, I think I got it working.
That's good news. So while the heaviest of rain is out of the Knoxville proper area, these storms are moving north and east, and you see that over toward Gibbs and over toward East Knox, and now moving into Jefferson County, the rain is heavy and the storms are strong to severe, and so we're going to continue to monitor those. So Victoria, let's see what we got over on camera 3.
I feel like I'm doing a magic trick here. Okay, so I think what happened was that the clicker is dead.
I was going to say that.
I think one of the clickers is dead. You know, we've been on a long time here. We've been keeping you updated. I popped in earlier before the 11 and then right after the 11 o'clock. But if you're still hanging with us, I want to talk about the severe weather that we currently have. So we do have 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings. It's this one right here that includes portions of Claiborne County. It also goes into Hancock County. And what I have kind of pulled up here, if we could zoom in a little bit, is actually where we're seeing some of our stronger winds. So I'm looking at this brighter green color back near Bacchus and Arthur, and those are probably winds gusting about 40 miles per hour or so. This severe thunderstorm warning does go until 2:15. Initially, it wasn't showing, you know, super impressive signatures, but there is a lot of heavy rain with this, especially back near Speedwell. You can see the frequent lightning as well, but the main concern with this cell is going to be the heavy rain that could lead to some localized flooding, and then also those gusty to damaging winds. Now, in addition to this, we do have another severe thunderstorm warning that's a little bit further to our south, and I want to kind of show you exactly where that one is. This includes Jefferson County, and they issued this warning based on kind of the cell that had moved out of Knox County that had caused us some flooding. So you can see where the heaviest rain is here near Newmarket. Okay, a newer radar scan coming in there. Also there near Patriot Academy. Let's turn on our velocities here. I'm going to have this one set to what we call base velocity because this storm's moving a little bit slower, east at about 20 miles per hour. And very, very gusty winds also with this one. What I tend to look for is if a little blue color comes up or a blue dot, that tells me that we're definitely seeing winds potentially above 58 miles per hour. But I'd say the strongest winds right now are in Newmarket and Rocky Valley. And remember, this storm is moving generally to the east at about 20 miles per hour. So it's going to move into the Morristown community probably shortly. And if we show you where the radar is, heaviest rain now approaching Flat Gap. Let's also kind of just take a little radar tour here, see if we can get this kind of off there for us, this severe thunderstorm warning. Maybe it'll click off for me, but I want to show you where we still have the flash flood warnings. That's your blinking green boxes. Notice the rain's moved out of those areas, but those flash flood warnings are going to continue until 3 o'clock in the morning because flash flooding can linger even after we've seen the rain kind of quiet down. And I think that's important to note because sometimes people think, oh, it's finally stopped raining, we're good to go. Not necessarily, because that water has to go somewhere. It doesn't just flood and then magically disappear. It takes a lot of time. So even into early tomorrow morning, you want to make sure that you are not driving through flooded roadways or that you're giving yourself at least some extra time. Zoom. Yeah, Justin.
jump in here real quick. Stay with that picture. They just expired that severe thunderstorm warning for Claiborne, Campbell, Hancock, Hawkins. Probably hasn't dropped off the map just yet. It'll take a second or two.
This one over here.
But that warning, according to the Weather Service out of Morristown, they have expired that warning for Campbell, Claiborne, Hancock, Hawkins, and Lee County. So they are seeing now what we were seeing is that the winds appeared not to be as strong and the cell weakening. It's still a pretty significant cell, but it's weakening.
Right, just probably not reaching that threshold that it needed to be. As we mentioned, 58-mile-per-hour winds, and we hadn't seen too much of that. I want to also just kind of check in and see how things are going over in Kentucky, because McCreary County and Whitley County, they also do have a flash flood warning, and that goes into effect until 3:30. They've been seeing the flash flooding from the front itself, so the storms that popped up over Knox and Anderson County earlier tonight were actually ahead of the main line. This in Kentucky is that front, and because it's been moving slowly, there will be some flooding concerns there as well. So McCreary, Whitley County in Kentucky, make sure you're also taking it slow. None of those storms are severe warns, but heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. One other thing to check in on is our power outage map. And so let's kind of see what that is looking like. All right, so now we've got about 300 customers without power also moving into the Dandridge area. And that makes sense because remember the cluster of storms that was right over Knox and Anderson, it's been shifting east. And then you can also see some power outages building into southeast Kentucky. About 7,500 customers without power right now in Knox County and about 300 customers without power in Anderson County. Certainly something to watch out for. On top of the fact that there's flooding, now you may not be able to see anything outside. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on that and encourage people early tomorrow morning to, of course, take it slow. You could see some downed trees, some flooding issues, and, of course, some stoplights also not working there. Justin, anything else you've noticed on the radar?
Well, a couple of things. You saw the Dandridge area, so part of Jefferson County. The strongest of the cell here is north of Dandridge. So this is where the power outages may be. One thing that's jumping out at me here is that the lightning has trended down pretty significantly with this cell. This storm was producing lightning that was prolific. Now there's just a few strikes, but enough to perhaps take out some power, or that gust of wind that we pointed out to you as that storm moved into Jefferson County could have disrupted power there. So, but one thing I want to show you here, which I think is important, is that while the wind was, and I'll do this sort of scrolling while we look at it, we'll go back an hour. Now watch the color change. You see that big burst of light blue and darker blue? That's where the winds were probably up to around 50 or 60 miles an hour. That is some very strong wind as the storm was moving in. That was about 20 minutes ago. Now look, or 30 minutes ago, now look at that velocity product. It does not have the same kind of wind. So I would expect, and they may let the warning go until it was time to expire, which is at 2:30. So this is for Jefferson County, but the storm is trending down. Lightning's coming down, and the wind product, and we're close to the radar site. So the radar site is right there. Morristown's Doppler radar site is right on the edge of that polygon. So it's very close to where that wind is. So the sampling should be excellent. And you're noticing not as much strong wind in that cell. And so we're talking about winds out around 40 miles per hour. That's below severe criteria. Not saying that 40 mile per hour winds couldn't bring down a tree limb, which could maybe hit a power line and take your power out. But as far as severe criteria, it has to be 58 mile per hour winds or large hail to be classified as a severe thunderstorm. And as I speak, they just expired. Oh no, that was different. I'm sorry. I was looking at that. That was the Campbell and Claiborne. So we'll watch this. Notice the winds are trending down with this cell. It's not that it's going away. It's just not as strong, and you can see that in the radar signature. The cell is not as strong as it was 30 minutes ago, and so we're going to continue to monitor that severe thunderstorm cell. Let me. We'll put that into play. Let's do this and this. And just watch how it's trended down. See that? It's strong and then it just trends down. So I would not be surprised to see this warning get lowered or expired. Rather than let it go to the end of the warning, which was at 2:30, the cell has weakened dramatically as it has moved eastward, and now it's actually kind of turning to the right, heading toward Douglas Lake. Now there's still some very strong storms up to the northern sections of Knox County, and now right on the Knox-Union County line. That's a pretty intense cell. So you're heading up here toward Maynardville Pike, toward Maynardville proper, and you've got a very intense heavy rain there. The amazing, if they can pick a little piece of good news out of this, is that the line's on the move, which is great, and the fact that the storms appear to be weakening just a bit, which is also very, very good. So that's the one good news for Knoxville, is that the heavy rain has moved out. Also, and this was a trend that we looked at yesterday with the modeling, before these storms had even formed, the computer models were showing a very intense line of storms that were going to be dropping out of Kentucky into East Tennessee. But the modeling also showed that there would be a weakening trend. And so that appears to be the case, and that's good news. Even though they've expired the warning, and I'm definitely reading that here, the graphic still shows that the warning is up, but according to the National Weather Service, they expired that warning for Campbell, Claiborne, Hancock, and Hawkins County. Has been allowed, will expire at 2:15. Oh, we got 2 minutes. It'll expire at 2:15. So it'll drop off here in a couple of minutes.
And Justin, also I've been kind of looking at the power outage map here. It's gone up. Look at some of this data. Dandridge now at 1,000 people without power, and Gatlinburg there at about 300 customers without power. And those storms are not severe warned; they're just general variety thunderstorms. So
well, I think those power outages there in where Dandridge is, was that first burst of wind that came in, and that's the reason they issued that warning.
Yep.
I think that's why those power outage numbers have trended up there for them.
And now it's kind of starting to come down a little bit there, as you mentioned. So
yeah, that cell is definitely weakened.
Let's move that out of the way and kind of show you what Justin's been talking about. So again, this is the severe thunderstorm warning that's still in effect. And if it'll let me click it, I believe that this one here goes, officially till 2:30. But you're right, even just looking at the radar, I mean, it's really come down. It's
dropped. You look at, put that into motion there over the last, I don't know if you've got 15 or 30 minutes. It's just dropped completely. It went from
that's just 15 minutes.
So that county, those numbers that you showed, that 1,000 was for all of Jefferson County.
Right.
I guarantee you it was that first burst of wind that came in as it crossed out of Sevier County and into Jefferson County, probably brought some tree limbs down and dropped that power, because the lightning's trended down. So I don't think there was a lightning induced power outage. Probably some trees on some power lines there in western Jefferson County.
And also checking in here on Knox and Anderson counties, I mean, you can see that the rain is kind of really wrapping up. Still some showers back near Clinton, but the rain is tapered off there. Doesn't mean they're not going to see some more showers and storms tonight, but those green boxes is where we still have flash flood warnings.
Victoria, pan back.
Yeah.
Scroll that back and look what's just happened with that Jefferson County cell.
Oh, did they drop the warning?
They just dropped the warning.
Wow, okay, great. So they dropped that one there as well. Is that what the digging is, that they're putting it in there, that they dropped it? So you were right, Justin. Yeah, they put it out briefly for that wind potential, and now they've kind of let it fall apart, which is good news for anybody that lives near Morristown, because this is going to be kind of moving into their area.
Right.
Just not as impressive. So no active severe thunderstorm warnings right now then, Justin?
None, and that's absolutely right. They did just put out a aerial flood advisory for Bluntcock and Sevier County. Showed you those storms that were up here, moving through the foothills and up to the higher terrain of the Smokies. So there you go. There's been some ongoing flood warnings over here in western North Carolina. Down, this is west of Cherokee. So from Gatlinburg to Cherokee and then westward, this has been flooding really bad down into Clay County and extreme southwestern North Carolina this evening. And then you see that line now really enhanced. And that's another thing that we were going to notice, is that the extra lift from the foothills and the Smokies was going to help squeeze out some additional rain. And so that trend has happened here. And so there is your aerial flood advisory. Aerial is a word, it's not a real, it's aerial. It's an area that is under a flood advisory. This is not a flash flood warning. This is not a flash flood emergency, but it is the consideration that this heavy rain will fall in the advised area. So that's that green flashing polygon from the western sections of Tennessee to the North Carolina line. It's not going to stop raining in North Carolina. It's just the county warning concerns for Morristown's National Weather Service office just that's where they go to. So if Spartanburg, which is that has the counties in western North Carolina, follow suit, they'll probably also issue at least some sort of a flood advisory for this line. I don't think it's going to stick around for a long time, but boy, the higher terrain up from Gatlinburg and up into elevation, you're picking up a tremendous amount of rain. Is it as much as we saw with the Greenbrier floods? Probably not. That was like 8 inches in a very short period of time. But this could cause some localized, quick, rapid rises on the streams and the creeks coming out of the foothills and down toward the Pigeon, the Little Pigeon, and eventually that'll work on down. But let's just keep an eye on this area here for Blount and Sevier and Cott County. It's that stretch right there along the Smokies and up toward the North Carolina state line.
Yeah, and Justin, also just given that those warnings have expired, do you want to kind of wrap it up here a little bit?
I think, that's a great point. And for two reasons.
The severe warnings, at least.
We have no severe thunderstorm warnings.
Right.
The active flood warnings, the flash flood warnings, are in areas where it is not raining.
Right, right.
So while it is still ongoing, there's some street flooding and things like that, no active torrential rain here. We're watching these storms drop out of Kentucky. The flood warnings are in effect for the Kentucky counties. None have been issued for the Tennessee counties. So, Victoria, I would tend to agree with you with no active severe thunderstorm warnings, and the flood warnings for Knox and Anderson County, while in effect until 3, no active heavy rain there. That's not a bad idea. Maybe we should wrap it up. I can get prepared for Good Morning Tennessee, and you can go home.
And of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated also on social media. If any other additional warnings get issued, we'll be sure to tweet those out. Again, I want to stress, though, those flash flood warnings, as Justin mentioned, still in effect, but at least the heavy rainfall has subsided for parts of Anderson and Knox counties. Of course, Justin's going to have more on the forecast coming up on Good Morning Tennessee starting at 4:30, and we will be sure to keep you updated on any sort of damage that has developed across East Tennessee. Overnight tonight, though, make sure you stay safe, have multiple ways to receive your alerts, and we will see you back here tomorrow morning on Good Morning Tennessee.